What are we in church? Everybody sits all the way in the back when we're in church service. If it was a Jay-Z concert, we'd be all up in front.
If Beyonce was there.
Well, I'm not Beyonce. Southern trees bearing strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pasture scene of the gallant sound, them big bulging eyes and the twisted mouth. Here is the fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the leaves to drop. Here is the strange and bitter cry.
Okay. How many people in here like to read? I think if you're going to be a good writer, you should be a good reader. I work in the Boston public school systems, and my primary focus is on young men. And what I find is that our young men do not like to read. But I've been to other planets, I've traveled the world, I've fought in wars, I've done all sorts of things just through the power of reading. I haven't done it myself, but I've explored these things. So I want to share with you a poem that I wrote to encourage my boys to read. Okay? Here we go. I am an author, using unique patterns of speech, street lecturer, charted with the task, teach the students to shift within historical movements, civil rights to pro-life. I'm a Martin Luther King of a Blue Hill Avenue, black cat on a hot tin roof, staring at the sky, wondering why. In Toni Morris's novel, Piccola wanted the bluest eyes. I'm a multifaceted wordplay fanatic. I got that abracadabra poetic magic. Sun dragon fantastic, extinct like dinosaurs, Jurassic. My style is all scholastic. I'm an intellectual acrobatic. I will backflip 6 days, resting on the Sabbath. I'll engulf you like the Mexican coast. Embrace these spoken words. I'm the alchemist on a personal legend, searching for treasure, protecting my herd. I'm that last nerve pincher, bench pressing stress from my hairy chest. From the Northeast coast, I am a Patriot fan who wears red socks. Now I shadow box with lighter shades. I'm a re-inspired, retired fighter, standing at the scratch line, holding my favorite book by Maya Angelou's son, Guy Johnson. My art attacks you through part 2. Echoes of a distant summer. I will arrest you, police your poetic license. My beef is bison injected hot. Molten rock lava. Some of them, they more like an iced cup of Java. Pray to the Holy Father, a black from the bean talks. Caffeine for those who daydream when they sleepwalk. Wake up, this is school on Sunday. No class. Ooh, put your hands down, the answer is, don't ask. At night, I write on the round table. I hit up poetry jams a lot. I'm that undercover, peanut butter, loving brother. Parable of the soul. I'm Octavia Butler, spread my earth seed. God is change. All you have to do is read my lips. Now it's instant gratification. The moment I open my mouth and words come out. Fall to your knees like a peasant. Then unwrap my gift of gab. It's present. Now my strategy is break down physical anatomy, then enter through the central nervous systems of my victims. I'm a genius with intravenous meaning to this logic. I see the big picture, but some are stuck on microscopic. Now I'm the topic of the girls' conversation. We can drop it. No comment. Articulate. Try to hang with my slang and get lynched. Strange fruits turn the color purple when detached from the roots. Now the truth is, a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich. So I brandish outlandish rants while sycophants bow to authority. East to Cornell West, race matters. I speak bluntly. Ask Rufus Scott, the jazz drummer from the novel, Another Country. I am that spook who sat by the door. I am Othello amongst this army of poets. I want more. I'm a leader of a new school, but you can call me Daddy Cool. Because last words are for fools who haven't said enough. So I hope that encourages y'all to read something. If you've never heard of those titles, check it out.
I want to know if you can associate these words like that.
Associate with some words?
Yeah.
That sounds easy. I think.
I'm going to pick out a word. Tell me what time you want.
All right, cool. Let's try it. Let's feel happy.
Black.
Nation of Islam.
Indian.
Lives in a wigwam.
Christian.
Interprets psalms.
Terrorist.
Drops bombs.
Clarence Thomas.
That's easy. Uncle Tom.
Marijuana.
Usually smoked in a bomb.
History.
Recorded wrong.
Real.
Said it with song.
Revolution.
Ring the alarm.
Lynching.
Caused bodily harm.
Guns.
Right to bear arms.
I love it.
That's easy. Thinking of mom.
Sleep.
To the system.
Education.
Not taught in curriculum.
Freedom.
That's no constraints.
Technology.
Artificial intelligence.
My heroes.
Beautiful. Heaven sent.
Civilized.
Lifestyle.
Civil rights.
Too far left.
Society.
Worries over status quo.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Prison.
Warehouse overstocked.
Drugs.
Imported around the clock.
Criminals.
Most wear suits.
Politicians.
Criminal. Same group.
Racism.
Institution.
Yes.
U.S. Constitution.
Pollution.
Media propaganda.
Ebonics.
Cultural communication.
Community.
Usually exploitation.
Gentrification.
Inner city.
Heritage.
Forgotten accounts.
Money.
Broke. Checks bounce.
Relationships.
Bonds that lack devotion.
Trust.
Devotion to those bonds.
Pro.
Calm.
Foe.
Friend.
Poetry.
Hip hop.
Alpha.
Omega.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's pretty good. How was it? How did you do that?
Did I? 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
You got power? One of the things about poetry, especially when you're at a slam, you're the shortest guy, you always gotta adjust the mic. There's always that units produced that's about this tall, and you're There's history deeply hidden, our children have stopped searching. And granddad's mind rocking back and forth on the front porch, pushed aside senile secrets, treasures, and weight. And grandma's kitchen too busy to visit her old-fashioned preacher while frying catfish and baking corn. Mama spoiled you dependent. The government loves taking care of 16-year-old pregnant black girls. Go on. Got another dependent. Daddy showed you how to become a defendant, running from responsibilities, chasing after quick fixes. The government loves taking care of 16-year-old black boys, incarcerated while execution, for a crime not even committed. Street corners, you into in traffic. Rims glitter, diamonds bling, dice rolls, popping new clothes. These are the trinkets of ghetto luxury, and nobody even thinks about property unless they can have it. Public housing contains those that are financially challenged, recycling the same mentality of people below or equal their same mentality. Public schools, they barely push education, but they'll push Rashawn to the 10th grade while still having 6th grade reading. Our voices are whispered. Our voting power are wonderful. Lately, we've been put on pause, fighting for the wrong cause, and now it's time to rewind and press play. Listen to what history has to say. We went from picking cotton in the fields to picking cotton at the gap. History is in between a generation gap. Don't believe me? Ask your grandparents. We castrate ourselves from our own allies. We sup with enemies and soak up in gossip as if it's the gospel truth. The cops, they call us out by numbers. The ghetto calls us out by name. Don't you realize that there are a select few that are circumcised to fit in, and there are us, castrated, cut off. When we as men no longer take care of our community, when we as men drop the baton to take care of our own children, when we as men turn our backs to the same place that we used to live in, this is when the government steps in and whispers in the ear of our women and says, "You see, I told you so."
Get him up. I know this is community college, but I was fortunate enough when I was younger to get a scholarship to this fine institution you see on my shirt. I believe in the power of historically black universities and colleges. And but I realized once I graduated that wasn't enough. So I have a degree in political science, but when you look at me, people often judge you by your appearance. I also have a master's in community economic development. And I just decided, because I have 2 girls in college, that I'm going to put my PhD on a hiatus for a moment. But I want to encourage you all to see where you can take your minds and take your skills and build upon that. Okay? So I share that with you because I think we right, particularly from the perspective of what it's like to grow up as a black male. And sometimes there's a stigma that's attached to it, but there's always hope. So I write this, I share this with you on my journey working in the public school system, from things that I see. Our fast-paced society lives for the love of material wealth, slowly dying for little or nothing. Young Weezies puffing killer cigs and exotic weeds, immature asthmatics huffing, sugar fanatics, greedy gluttons, addicted to greasy fried foods, Bluetooth devices, and remote-controlled buttons. Pre-recorded programming is jamming 94.5% of our airwaves. The next generation of teenagers are disengaged, misinformed, misled with their butts out. N-I-G-G-A-S, spelled backwards, is sagging. In 2015, I can't believe our boys would ever wear skinny jeans. America's next muffin top model is recently morbidly obese. Women dependent on surgical implants. Men, male performance-enhancing drugs. Children text message their emotions, lacking the embrace of a single parent's hug. They are snubbed by their elders. Our children get a raw deal. They got party animals for parents, clubbing them over the head. The fate of our babies concealed. They are suffering, bluffing, poker-faced class clowns. Flip Wilson said the cost of living is going up, but the chance of living is going down. We have 50 dysfunctional educational systems in 50 United States. Achievement gaps widen, higher dropout rates, standardized testing, bullies rule, shootings in public schools. Instead of pushing up daisies, I want you to flourish, little flowers, but the sweetness of the Cabbage Patch Kid has evolved into something more sour. Smell their innocence rot as it wafts from underneath the garbage pail lids. Taste the tang of a child's hope explode, then fizzle like their pops rocking back and forth, serving time, doing bids. Follow the flux of a student's footsteps. There's unprotected sex, another child left behind, school to prison pipelines that were systematically designed. You don't believe me? You want proof? Well, here's more. The number of prisons being built is based on third-grade reading scores. They got to deal with peer pressure, trash, broken bottles of brandy, crackheads smoking what looks like white, hard candy. Mandatory uniforms, the need to conform. Come on, rising sons and daughters. What's going on? Think critically. Break down subliminal messages that have been ingrained into the tiny crevices of your brains. In the folds of inflation's increases are ticker-taped confetti pieces made from the 1%'s old money. Now, the world is only funny to comedians. Pointing the finger is mute. Sometimes things fall apart, and the data just does not compute. You have to pull yourself up and reboot. This is a warning, cuz I'm not the one who's going to get you something. I'm the keeper of my mother, father, sister, and brother.
As a child, I remember going up to the apple tree. You know, the one upon the hill. How I wish that I could pluck the most beautiful fruit that I could get my hands on. Too short to reach and too young to know any better. God told me to wait. From a distance, I would just stare at her, wondering what she even tasted like. There were others just laying on the ground that somewhat resembled her, but they all lost their coat. Too short to reach and too young to know any better. God told me to wait. Disobedience became my downfall. Experiencing the bitterness of what I settled for left a very bad taste in my mouth. The soft brown spot, the residue of the worm, and the ferment of the fruit killed all the butterflies that was once here, and which I should have known. As I got over, much more wiser, I would gradually walk up to that same apple tree, kicking aside those that are on the ground, pushing away those that are still green, and making my way to what I thought was love. And God said, no, not that way. Look beyond what your eyes can see. Go deeper than what your heart can feel. And there she was, crimson red. Beautiful, flawless. I selected the very best that was ordained for me. Her juices added life to my essence. And this is the reason why we should wait upon God for that apple in your life. Thank you.
Dr. John Langdon Down was the first to identify it. Now, he categorized it as a syndrome, a condition of special edition children with an extra pair of chromosomes. 1 out of 800 births is the ratio, crossing all groups, economic and racial. Now, prenatal, these kids were labeled mongoloids, retards, downers. So please, don't say those words around me. At first, there was denial because her mother informed me that she would be a very special child with a flat facial profile, slanting eyes. I was surprised my daughter Taylor has the grayest eyes that mesmerize. Light brown hair, her skin is orange as the sun, but even with her protruding tongue, she is my hero, unsung. We overcame hearing loss by signing. I overcame hearing loss by listening. At school, we designed an individual educational plan. At home, before Obama, we knew that yes, she can. There's potential congenital heart disease, vision disorders. As parents, we discovered ways to conquer the physical and developmental delays. Little Miss Taylor Ray, she saw a long list of speech, physical, and occupational therapies. At times, these challenges seem too high to climb, so tell me, how does one stand to behold the sublime? There were surgeries, emergency medical procedures, seizures, We never considered abortion. Her existence is a blessing. I am her King Arthur. She is my tiny princess of perfection, my little homie. And for those of you who don't know me, my youngest daughter Taylor was born with an extra 21st trisomy, a chromosomal structure that makes her unique. So watch her actions if you can't understand her speech. She repeats, she imitates, and she laughs back at you. When daddy is sad, our favorite saying is, "Give me some kisses." And it changes my whole attitude. Now her smile makes my life worthwhile. The public is corrupted with misinformation because kids with Down syndrome always exceed other people's lowered expectations. I take life in moderation, but I'm thankful to raise another of God's greatest creations. Now I had to learn patience, lovingly address those ignorant statements, but I recognize this vibe of pride I feel inside. It's unconditional love, and it changed me from the man I once was. On the buddy walk, Taylor is my buddy, my apprentice, my sweet petite athlete who competes in the Special Olympics. Now, poetry jams and poetry slams are big biz, you dig? But none of that compares to Down syndrome kids. Are you down? I am. I know this is a Black History Month event, but I wanted to share that poem with you because I don't know if anybody understands the disparities that occur in health and what's going on with healthcare and medicine. And so as a father who has a child with Down syndrome, I realized that we are in a unique position here in the Northeast. I live in Boston, and the healthcare and some of the medical things that we get, there is a disparity amongst people of color, and I think we should know about that. My children have since moved to Indiana. We should be very thankful, women and children, for places like Rhode Island, Massachusetts. We have like women and children states where you get a lot more services that you may not get in other parts of the country. So I want y'all to recognize that, but it's not enough. It's still not enough. One of the reasons I got into the school system was actually to work in the Office of Special Education so I could actually make sure that my daughter got the services that she needed. So do not take any of these things for granted because there are people of all age ranges, colors, genders that deal with these sort of disparities, and we have not overcome them yet. So I want that to be something that you think about as we move forward. Thank you.
I collected the tears of redemption on the breast of my Banana Republic children, absorbing the past that begged for healing. Before our goodbyes, Gerald and I broke bread together, collaborating memories of our time in the United States Navy. As my wife sat next to me, she felt it odd that the conversation between Gerald and I wasn't fluid. See, we spit stories that seemed cordial, as if looking for matching pieces that attaches our history. Between the talks, silence would take over what seemed to be like forever, until the, "Hey, remember when?" and the, "Have you seen so-and-so lately?" Finally, my wife, the savior, would ask Gerald Foster a slew of questions. Where you from? How long you in town for? Do you have family? Killing the mute moment at the dinner table. After all the questions have been answered, my wife excused herself to the ladies' room. Gerald looked at his watch, stood up, and said, "Hey, Lawrence, I gotta get back on the road. Gotta make all these deliveries. Got a deadline to make, you know?" I stood up to wish him well. Handshake extended. He took me in, pulled me close, and started to weep. "I'm sorry. I am so sorry." Wetting my shirt from the local store. Gerald Force, machinist made first class. Blonde hair, blue eyes, backwoods North Carolina, and a different kind of Navy back in 1987, where colored folks didn't belong. I still remember when he first came aboard the ship, those ugly words he ever spoke to me. "You know, Lawrence, there's only two things I don't like in my Navy: trash and colors. And I need you to take the garbage out." 25 years. 25 years later, and that long drive home, I just sat there in silence. See, that day, God showed up with tears of redemption. I just so happened to be there with a box of tissues full of forgiveness. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Smith. This is Thomas. We represent Brothers Keeper. There are two other guys that are involved in this group. So I'm going to let Arthur contact last week.
I want to thank you all for coming and show your support. But I have a question. Do we have any other writers in this room? People who would like to come up and maybe share something? No other writers? Would anybody be willing to try a writing activity? So can I get a couple of volunteers? I need a few volunteers. Because I think that one of the things about writing is, for me, is it's a way to actually fight back. So I write about the things that bother me, and I hopefully can change some opinions and maybe shed some light and even learn from other people. So if I can get a few volunteers to come up and do a brief activity with me, and then you can all participate if you like. Will you try, sir? Yeah. All right, so here we go. I need a couple people. Don't be shy. It's not very hard. It's not very hard. Come on up. Need a few more. At least one more. Maybe one more. There it is. Okay. He's not shy. I want to do a brief activity with you, and I want to show you how sometimes great minds can think alike. So here's what we're going to do. Since I only have 3 of you. Pick one of the 3. Pick a card, any card. You got one? Don't look at it. Don't look at it. You got one? You got one. There it is. Okay. So I like to do to write, and what I want you to think about is, well, we got 3 different things. What's your name, sir? Thomas. Hopefully I spelled it right. Thomas, what does it say on your card?
It says chorus.
So Thomas has the chorus or the hook. Does anybody know what that is in music? What is it? Yeah, it's kind of like the part that repeats the thing that goes over and over. It connects, it's like a bridge. I want you to think of it as a bridge, right? It connects one verse to the next verse, right? This is going to be your task. I'll tell you what you're going to do in one more second. What is your name, ma'am? Willa. Willa? Willa. Okay. Willa, what does it say on your card?
Mine says title.
Title. She has the title. This is one of the most important aspects of what we're going to do today, all right? Because I can't write without a title, so I need somebody to actually give me a title. What I want you to do is think of a title. It can be anything you want. You can think about the theme or whatever it is today. You come up with the title and give you a couple of seconds to think about what that is, all right? Based on her title, you're going to come up with whatever the chorus will be, okay? And then your job, let's